Hello everyone. So in the previous class we have already covered about the Indian Constituent Assembly and the making of Indian Constitution, and today we are going to get ourselves introduced to the basic fundamentals, basic concepts of the Indian Constitution. Okay. So few of these concepts are division of powers, separation of powers, like how the powers are separated amongst different types of bodies, administrative bodies within our nation. We are going to study that. We are also going to study about the preamble of the Indian Constitution. Okay. We are also going to study how many parts are there in our Indian Constitution, what are the schedules of the Indian Constitution, okay, how many articles are there in the Indian Constitution. So we will be getting to know about all these things in the today's lectures. It is one of the most fundamental aspects of studying Indian polity. So today's class is indispensable if you want to have a good command in this subject. Okay. So I again request each of you students that get ready with your pens and copies and start learning throughout with the lectures. Okay. So let's get started. So we are going to start with the preamble of the Indian Constitution. So what is the preamble of the Indian Constitution? So if you refer to any kind of book, okay, and as soon as you open the book, you will see a preface being mentioned in the book. So what does that preface says? The preface tells about the overall moral of the book, the overall basic theme of the book, right? So preamble of the Indian Constitution is technically the preface of the Indian Constitution. And what does that do? It gives about the major moral ideas, the major values on which Indian Constitution was framed. It talks about various aspects of the Indian Constitution. If somebody asks, is preamble a part of Indian Constitution? So what is the answer? So yes, preamble is an indispensable, inseparable part of Indian Constitution. However, it is not enforceable by the court. That is the answer. Okay. You will get to know about this further as we will be covering up various other topics, and feel free to connect to us and we will be able to help you out with the concepts if in case you have any doubts. So the Constitution of India preamble. So I am going to trace what is the preamble. So it starts with we the people of India. Okay. So we the people of India having solemnly resolved to constitute India into sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic, and to secure to all its citizens. Okay. So this is how the Indian preamble starts. Okay. So basically Indian preamble is called as the heart and soul of the Indian Constitution. So it is the heart and soul of the Indian Constitution. Okay. So preamble, if somebody asks what is the source of the Constitution of India. So from the preamble of the Indian Constitution, we will get to know about various features of the Indian Constitution. So what various details does preamble of the Indian Constitution give us? So it talks about the source of the power of Indian Constitution, from where Indian Constitution derives its power. Okay. It talks about the nature of the Indian Constitution. After that, it also talks about the objectives of Indian Constitution, like what are the major objectives of Indian Constitution, what does Indian Constitution aim at. Okay. And it finally talks about the day of enactment of Indian Constitution, when Indian Constitution came into force. Okay. When Indian Constitution was made, enacted. Okay. So if somebody asks, what is the source of the Indian Constitution? So the source of the Indian Constitution is we the people of India. So India is a democratic nation where we cast our votes to choose our representatives, to choose our governing bodies. Okay. So Indian Constitution derives its powers from we the people of India, like the general public of India. Having solemnly resolved to constitute India into. So the next point which we get to know via the preamble of Indian Constitution is the nature of Indian Constitution. So what kind of nature of Indian Constitution we have? What is the nature? How does Indian Constitution work? How does it function? So the nature of Indian Constitution is, let's get to technicalities, okay? Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. So what is the nature of the Indian Constitution? Sovereign. So what does the word sovereign means? The word sovereign means that we as nation, our own government is an independent body. Nobody from outside or no internal forces can influence or impact their decisions. We are free to take our own decisions internally, externally without any pressure. Okay? So nobody can enforce any kind of restrictions on us. Nobody can manipulate the decisions of our own government. So we are sovereign. Socialist. So what does the word mean by socialist? Socialist means a type of philosophy which aims at social welfare. Okay. So socialist means our constitution's nature basically focuses on the welfare of the society, welfare of the common good. Okay. So we have adopted soft socialism, like we have a welfare government which keeps on working on the welfare of different sections of Indian society. So everybody is equal in the eyes of Indian Constitution, and our government which will be working on the basis of Indian Constitution will be socialist governments, okay, working for the social welfare, working for the common good of the society. Secular. So what does this word secular means? So the word secular means that we will not be having our own national religion, okay, but we will be paying respect to each and every religion. So Indian Constitution acknowledges the existence of multiple religious diversities within our nation, but we don't have a single preferable religion when it comes to the Indian Constitution. Okay? So we will not be having a national religion, but we will be respecting each and every religion individually without any discrimination. Okay? So we have adopted the positive meaning of the word secular. Next come the word democratic. So what does the word democratic means? The word democratic means that we as Indian public have the right to vote. Each and every Indian citizen who has attained minimum 18 years of age can cast their vote and can choose their representatives. Okay. So it talks about the power of universal adult franchisee. Okay. Now comes the next term, republic. So what does the word republic means? Listen to it very carefully. Most of the students get confused between these two words, democratic and republic. Okay. So what does the word republic means? Do you have any idea? So okay, let me tell you. So the word republic means that the highest authority of our nation, the highest power figure in our nation would not be hereditary. The post will not be hereditary. It won't belong to a definite family, to a definite clan. Rather, it would be changeable. And what kind of nature would this highest position, highest authority in our nation have? This person, this authority shall be accountable to the Indian masses. Okay? So the head of the state is basically a people representative who is accountable to the Indian public, Indians. Okay? So this is what the word republic means. And to secure to all its citizens. So we have already studied the source of Indian Constitution and the nature of Indian Constitution, and who is telling about all this? We are getting this idea from the preamble of the Indian Constitution, which is basically what? The preface of the Indian Constitution. Okay? So next comes the objectives of Indian Constitution. So objectives of Indian Constitution are also mentioned briefly in our preamble. Okay? So what are the major objectives? So just learn. The major objectives are justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. So our Indian Constitution aims at providing justice, providing liberty, providing equality and working on the fraternity of our individuals in our nation, of the Indian public. Okay? So now let's come to the word justice. So what does the word justice means? giving justice. What kind of justice? Social justice, okay, so that nobody is socially discriminated or socially harmed. Giving economic justice, like two people working in the same designation irrespective of the gender, they should be paid equally. And political justice, like each and every individual has the right, has the authority to reach out to their representatives, to reach out to the government and get their problems resolved, get their address issued and heard over there, okay. So political justice, economic justice and social justice, these are the three types of justice which our constitution shall provide to the Indian public. Next comes liberty. Liberty, kind of freedom. What kind of freedom? Liberty, liberty of thought. We are free to have thoughts. Expression, we are free to express ourselves. Belief, we are free to have our own belief aspects, okay. We can believe, we can keep belief on multiple things. Faith, we are free to have faith on different religious figures, different religions, different cultural values. And worship, we are free to worship whosoever we want. So nobody can stop us or inhibit us to harbor thoughts, expressions, belief, faith and worship, okay. However, there are certain restrictions. So the constitution ensures that we have the liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship. But our thought, our expressions, our belief, our faith, our worship, they should not harm the peace, the security of our nation, okay. So that is a reasonable restriction which is being imposed by the Indian constitution. Now the next objective of our Indian constitution is equality. So our Indian constitution continuously inspires the various administrative bodies of our nation to provide equality, to establish equality in the Indian society. What is that? Equality of status and equality of opportunity. So what do you mean by equality of status and opportunity? Equality of status means each and every individual is equal before law. Law, that is the Indian constitution, shall not discriminate any of the persons, irrespective of their financial conditions, irrespective of their social conditions. The next thing is equality of opportunity. Each and every Indian, each and every individual is empowered to grab the opportunity of government services. Nobody can be debarred, nobody can be stopped or discriminated to fetch the various government posts and services, okay. And actually the Indian constitution has empowered the Indian government to provide specific facilities to the weaker sections of the society. Why? So that they are availed the opportunities of government posts and services, okay. For example, the reservation system in our nation, okay. And to promote among them all, that is, the Indian constitution inspires the administrative bodies not only to have these objectives but also to keep promoting these various aspects, the various objectives like justice, liberty, equality and fraternity, okay. Now what is fraternity? Fraternity in short means brotherhood, the feeling of we, that we are united, we are like a big huge family, the feeling of Vasudev Kutumbakam, okay. And that is why India is emerging as a global leader and India has the potential to be a global leader, because we harbor the feeling of we harbor the feeling of fraternity, okay. So fraternity assuring the dignity of the individual, like we are all brothers and sisters, we have the feeling of we are like a huge big family, and each and every individual of this huge Indian societal family has his or her own dignity. Each and every person in India deserves equal amount of respect and dignity, and the unity and integrity of the nation. So what does that mean? Unity and integrity of nation. So the word unity means that our nation is a single entity, it cannot be further divided. And what does the word integrity means? that each sections of the society, the various diversified sections of Indian society are integrated. Okay, they are all integrated with each other and they are all what? They are all Indian nation altogether. Next, the last information which we get to know from the preamble of Indian Constitution is the day of enactment, when the Constituent Assembly enacted the Indian Constitution. So just quote these lines: in our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution. So the Indian Constituent Assembly, which is our representative, which represented each and every sections of the Indian society, is saying that on 26th November 1949, what we have done? We have adopted. We have adopted our constitution, we have enacted our constitution and we have given ourselves this constitution. Okay, and this 26th November is celebrated as the Constitution Day every year. Okay, so these were the major informations which we traced from the preamble of the Indian Constitution. We will be covering about the next topics in the next class.